Hello today and welcome to my presentation. This is Muhammad Ahmad Zaki. Wish you all a good day. Today we're going to be looking onto the organizational development, which is one of the most important topics, right, for those whom they are in the role of manager director for limited liability organization, whom they are for CEO for multinational for corporate organizations, whom they are or the VP positions, right, whom they need to perform a transitional change in their organizations in order that they perform better performance for their organization. So what we're going to be looking today, right, in our presentation, we're going to be covering onto the defining the organizational development, the OD, and the growth and relevance of the organizational development. So that's what we're going to be covering into the today's chapter, right? And rest of those, right, among with the other chapters, you need to join our course, right? And I'll be leaving my phone numbers, right, where you can take it through self-learning with us, right, or with Soft Academy. Right. So first of all, today we're going to be looking onto the organizational development, right? And that is the behavioral science, right? And the research tools that are being used by a process, right? So that you can implement your better performance to your organization and to enhance your capabilities of your resources. So the big question is going to be the big edge, how? And that's the big question, right? How can I improve my organization? How can I perform into my organization? How can I achieve the strategic goals that the organization has undertaken into it? In which, in other words, is then, right, I have a vision right now, and I have a daily dream, right? But I'm not able to know how to accomplish those, which is what we call the mission-based, right? So the question we're asking right about it is that how to achieve an organizational strategic goals, right? So the first question that the all the CEOs, all the organizations, leaders, they have goals in mind. They have a vision, right? But in order to accomplish those visions, right, you need to be very procure on the resources you're selecting, on the capital investment, onto the environment. You need to enhance into your external, internal environments affecting your organization. So you need to know how you're going to be achieving the strategic goals. You need to maximize into your return on investment, your payback period, right? And the internal rate of return. So how are you going to be doing that, right? That's the question. How to build plan and to maintain a customer satisfaction. So it's very important that to have what we call a foundation base, right, of having a customer satisfaction, the customer to be sustained. And it's not only just to win a client, right, and then look for another client. No, you need to have a base, right, relationship, and you have to have a partner relationship with that client so that you are both working on to um, delivering a product, a service, a result, right? And as well, the organization who's providing is making repetition, right? And profits as well. So as well, we're going to be looking how to maintain a team-based loyalty and adaptive environment. That's very crucial part, right? Today, most organizations, they are facing what we call them the frequent flyers, right? Resources keep on leaving the organizations, right? And that's one of the most critique is that you need to have a strategy on how to deal with the team. You need to have a foundation of your organization structure, right? You need to make sure that your team, they have a career path. They should be able to know how to maintain their rule discipline, how to put them as if they are and they are one of the partners of the organizations, right? And you need to motivate them as well so that they are able to boost up their performance and to grow up with the organization. So to have to be loyal. Again, transitioning. Now, most of the companies today, there are many startup companies, right? And they need for okay, they're looking at the first year for the break-even point, right, to achieve. That is they don't have a loss as well, they're not making profit, but at least they're getting their revenue, right? But they need to at the same time they're gonna move what we call it to Angela to be start stabilizing the organization. So they need to move from that transitional state from the startup to a limited liability, from limited liability to a corporate, and from corporate to a multinational organization. So that's again, we're going to be looking on how OD it helps into that part. So looking closer on organization development, so it is basically an OD, it is a process that uses the broad range of what we call behavioral science, right, knowledge. And as well, it uses what we call a research and tools, right, in order to have the right resources, the right capacity of resources utilized, right, in order to have a great effectiveness, a great impact of improvement into your organization, and you're able to see how you are progressing towards the success, right? So an OD, it is being, right, a composition of what we call social actions that are taken by the employees who are working in the organization, the top executives, right, the management, and the scientific way you're going to uh, acknowledge and to apply throughout your project. So we look right here that today when you are applying that process of behavioral science, right, into your organization with your research and your tools, you will be able to have a maximizing in your profits. So you will have increased financial performance, you will be able to have a customer base satisfaction, right? You will be able to have what we call an employee base foundation, right? That is being adaptive to the environment, he's being loyal to your company, and you're avoiding the risk of having what we call a frequent flyer, right? So the OD examples, right, will be seeing that once you implement the process of behavioral science and the criteria of searching and you start strategizing your goals, you'll be able to make sure that you have a team building with a top corporate management, right? So I will be having an OPS, organizational structure, right? Where I have a leader who's maintaining them, right? And as well promoting them. Because organization, when it comes to OD, it is triangle, it is based on three areas: strategic planning, right? And then you have your organizational structure, the OPS, and then the third is you have your process, the functionality and the system you're going to implement, which is called the accessories that's going to be moving things over throughout the process in order to establish the work, the success at the end of the part, right? Again, if we're having a manufacturer organization, so you need to have a job enrichment. You need to make sure that you are fully utilizing the resources, capacity planning. You should be able to know that you are producing the products, right, as being planned, right? You are as well looking onto what we call the GIT, just in time from your inventory, right? And as well, you're looking as well on how to deliver a quality to the consumers. Then you have the structure change, for example, in a municipality, right? In an organization, how you can improve that structure. So those are the ways that we can say the fruitful you're going to be getting once you apply the organizational development in a correct way, right? Now we're going to be looking on to next chapters, right? Chapter 2, on the different models that are used by organizational development, such as Kurt Lewins, such as the Lapid, right? Wilson and Watson, Cutters, right? Which is called the positive and the academic action research model. And they differ from each others. We're going to look onto the analogy of each of them. So when we look onto an OD, different scientists, they have different terminologies and different thoughts about it. For taking an example like Warner Baker. Warner Baker, he says that, well, when it comes to OD, it's a planned process, right? And in which it performs a transitional change into the organizational culture by using the behavioral science, technology, research, and tools and theory adaptation. While Wendell French, right, who looks at it's a long term, it's a strategic alliance. So you have to take, right, throughout a long vision. So you need to get alliance with your corporates. You're going to be looking onto your partners who's going to be working. So it's going to be a broad organizational goals, strategic goals, long term, apart from tactical approach, right? And you need to start performing a problem solving capabilities, right? You should be looking onto the external and internal. Now, when we talk about external and internal environment, right? So external, it means your competitors, economical deflations, right? Any crisis that could happen outside affects your organization, right? Internal is your OPS, the policies and the procedures about them. How productive are you? How you're motivating your team? How you're cooperating with your team? Management style, leadership style. you're adopting, right? So those are the factors. They're going to be affecting, right, your organization from internal and external, and you need to overlook onto them, right, in order to improve them, right? Now, Richard Pickard, right, he says, well, you need to have a strategic plan. Then you need to look from the perspective of angle of elevation, right? Looking from downwards, upwards, elevation, right? You need to look onto wider organization, right? You need to manage things from the top as the CEO. You're managing the whole deputy directors, and then to the middle management, and then to the senior and junior employees, right? So manage from the top, increase the organization health environment. It's very important to have a healthy environment, right? In other words, we're looking on the macroeconomy, not a micro economy, right? Micro, it's a small organizations, right? And that it doesn't have a process, it doesn't have it doesn't yield to having any accomplishment, any improvement. It's just sticking on the aiming only just to get the revenue and right, and at the end it performs a loss, right? So it's very important to look things big, right? It's very important to have a healthy environment, a productive environment, collaborative environment, okay? Now you need to plan is to have a process that you're going to model, that you're going to adapt into your organization on how you're going to plan, on how you're going to deliver, how you're going to implement, how you're going to provide quality, how you're going to perform what we call a public relations with your clients, right? And how to deal with them and how to open new business with them, right? So all of that is being done through the golden word, behavioral science, right? And the action research, right? And the tools to be adopted and the theory. Now, Michael Peer, he has another way of thoughts. He's saying that OD, well, it's a size system-wide process of data collection. So first of all, I have to go and collect, right, data. So for example, let's say I'm a startup organization, right? So before I start to transition the organization from startup into the movement into a limited liability, I need to have a baseline. I need to take measurements at the current so that I'm able to refer it and compare it to the change that's going to be occurring, movement to the limited liability, right? So it's very important to have a collection of data, diagnose those data and the reflection, action planning, right? And then you need to have an intervention in case if things didn't go right from your measurements. So you need to intervene. You need to work out in the correct way. You need to perform evaluation, right? So all of that, the process right here, or the fruitful is going to be here, is that you're going to enhance your congruence among organizational structures. So here I'm building an enhanced boosted organizational OPS breakdown structure, right? I have a process, I have a strategy, I have people, I have the culture, right? So as well, we're going to be having a creative organization solution, right? And as well, you'll be having self-renewing capacity. So I will be able to know, since I have a process model, right? I will be able to know when I should be having extra resources, right? And when I don't have to rehire resources, capacity planning, right? So it occurs through when you have a collaboration, a partnership between your employees as well with your customers. So we're looking at VOC and voice of a customer and VOT, voice of the team, right? So collaboration of organization members working in a collaborative way, and that will be done again through behavioral science, social science, and the technology and the research. So those are the theorists, right, who have described the OD in their formats. So when we look onto as well another theorist, which is Warner Burke and David Pratford. So they said they have another dimension, right? They're saying, well, an OD, it is based on set of values, right? You should be having larger humanitarian, humanistic, right? So you should be thinking of others. That's what we call it the self-empathy, right? Thinking of others, so others can think about you, right? Application of behavioral science, again, you need to have it and a system theory, right? So it is about planning, strategic planning, right? And improving the effectiveness in way to have a congruence to your organization. So in that organization, in that boostful organization, okay, you'll be able to look onto the key dimensions of environmental, external environmental factors. You will be able to have a mission-based and a vision, strategy, leadership, and culture, all right? So that's what's going to be the basis of what you're able to have a strategy, you're able to have a vision, you'll be able to have a mission accomplishment to achieve that strategy, and you'll be able to have a leadership style who is able to lead the whole team, and you get your followers being followed. So when we look onto the organizational development, it is something which it is distinguished from the change management as well from the organizational change, right? So when we look onto the organization development, right, so we're saying that it is about strategic plan, it is about having an OPS, organizational structure, and a process, right? So that can be implemented in a single power plant organization, can be implemented in a multi-plant organization. Secondly, organization development, right, it is being directed by the top executives, right, in a more effective in order to focus on how to solve the problems, right, and in how to uh, open-minded in how to resolve any obstacles that occur or conflicts, right, and how to overcome those and to move boosting forward, right. So we're looking here about it might as well be one of the solution is that you might have to include both the teams. So you need to have the idea, right, is that you should be able to uh, have a collaborative, right, between your team and the management to share them through the policy and procedures. For example, when I was the operation director, right, for Wasseltech Technology, right, and as well I was managing that office, right, so in Qatar office, right. So what we had is that when I had to set the policy and procedures for the organization, right, so what I did is that I have spoke with the HR manager. Well, we need to get the before we set our policy and procedures and the rules, right, let us try to engage with the team, the employees, software developers, the quality control, all the team leads and their resources, and let them as well. We will let us all of us share and collaborate together to put all the policies that we as even as an operation director or as a CEO, I'm going to apply that rule, right? And I will be as well. If I broke one of those rules, I will be as well being warned about it, right? So we all had to put the whole rules all together so that when someone is being penalized, right, he does not get upset about it because he knows that he's the one of the contributors who have added that rule. So that's very important to have a collaboration with the team in setting the policies and the procedures and to work onto your rules and organization. So, so you might have to perform what we call a structuring for your organization, the process, and you need to have a process in order to solve all the problems and to enhance in communication to build a rapid communication. So you should have the ability top management as well to solve any problems and obstacles once you apply the behavioral science of organizational development, right? So improvements, okay, now as well, you will have the process, right? It will help you as well to boost on your product, on your service, and your solutions you're being providing, right? So those are the benefits of organizational development. Now, OD as well, again, it has application and transfer of behavioral science, right, and knowledge and practice, including micro concepts such as leadership and group dynamics and work design and macro approaches such as strategy, organization, design, international relations. So as we've said into my beginning of my session, right, is that OD, it here distinguishes between whether the environment is of a microeconomy or a macroeconomy. And I said the microeconomy, it is being worst case that there is a disruption of management. There's no policy and procedures. You find the CEO interferes with the developer and he doesn't respect the middle management or the top executive management, right? So that's what we call a microeconomy. But a macroeconomy, no, everyone has a rule and respects the OPS that's been set, right? And that what pushed up the organization, right? And makes sure that you are having a clear vision and a mission statement to accomplish. So the OD from the such application management consultant technology innovation. Now again, we're looking on the OD. It encourages as well in the evaluation of technology, of globalization, right, of economical and all of that. So it provides with the new technology being enhanced. You're enhancing in your new technology to being up to date. You're enhancing into the globalizations, right? You're enhancing into your in growing of your organization, right? Being the standards of the organizations, right? So that's basically what we're looking onto from the OD. So again, the OD distinguishes between the instant transfer behavioral science knowledge and skills to the system into more capable of carrying out planned change in the future. So again, when I have a strategy for the first year, let's say I'm having a business plan for the first year, right, that I'm going to have a break-even point, and then on the next year, right, I'm going to have a first profit getting. So here the OD, it has a well-defined plan on how we're going to be moving and transitioning to the next level. So it's concerned with management planning change, okay, and typically associated with the consultation project management. It doesn't have to do with project management, right? And then, so an OD is being a science, right, and a process, right, and that it has to it governs the way how you're transitioning your organization from the three bases or the three pillars, which is from your strategic plan, your structure, and your customer base and your team base. But when you look onto the project management, right? So project management, it has what we call the influencing of the organization to get successful projects, right? So here the OD, it differs is that you're performing what we call a planned change. Now, moreover, right, we do have OD involves in design implementation and subsequent reinforcement of the change. So we have a design of how the model is going to be a prototype, right, of how things are going to be moved before we actually have a model, right, before we execute directly on the real life. So we have to apply it on a model first. So it moves beyond the initial efforts to implement the change, a program, long term. So it looks onto the long term, right? And as well institutionalization of new activities within organization, right? So here to focus on, for example, if we having, right, let's say today, if we look from a perspective that a team is being performing right well, and they're getting things done. Now that returns because of the supervisor, he is influencing those co-workers, right? And he's putting a concern onto them and pushing them to get things done, right? So that's part of the way that the supervisor is using his behavioral science, right, and the researches and experience he have done that how to manage a team, how to get to influence the organization, and to apply it. So basically today we have looked onto the introductory of the importance of applying organizational development, right? And it's important that if you take the course right with me, you will be able to know how to start up your organization, how, if you already have an organization, what are the external factors that can affect your organization, internal factors, and how you can overcome them through a plan, through the behavior science. We hope to meet you right with another sessions. We're going to be looking on chapter 2 on 2 weeks from now today. We're going to be looking on to the practical appliance of Kurt Lewin's and the Lapid and Wilson, and as well with Cotter's right model using the action research model and the positive model and the various differences. Thank you very much for your time. Hope the session was productive to your side, and hope to see you in further sessions. Thank you.